Hello pretty people, I'm Izzy aka the Quirky Environmentalist. Here on this channel and my blog and other things I talk mostly about environmental issues and sustainable fashion, and it's been a while since I've been here. Hello, welcome back to me. Today we're going to be talking about the wonderfully unsustainable world of fashion haul videos.
Show you this box. I can't even pick it up. It's so big.
I don't do as often as I would like. A good old Primark haul.
Now, before we get started, I do want to put out a quick little disclaimer just to say I don't think that influencers and haul videos are like the sole reason for our planet becoming uninhabitable. There are massive issues with the entire system of the way we do things, but haul videos are this kind of special kind of like consumer culture, this overconsumption, this buy now, dispose, detached from the process of making things, which is definitely helping to fuel the climate crisis. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, how these haul videos fit into an incredibly unsustainable fast fashion system, and why, if we care about people and the planet, we should probably stop doing them and maybe stop watching them too. If you've been on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram for a while, you know, consuming that content, you've almost definitely seen one of these kind of videos. Back in the day, in the early 2010s, it was the big YouTube girlies doing Primark and Zara hauls in their bedrooms. Now on TikTok you've got the massive surge of hauls from brands like Shein, Pretty Little Thing, Misguided, and if you look at these from the surface, they look pretty innocent and fun. Someone is buying lots of clothes, they're trying them on, they're showing them off, they're having fun. But when you look into the system that they are part of, into fast fashion, how they are made, and what happens to them when the whole video is done, then it all starts to look a little bit nastier. Firstly, let's briefly talk about where these clothes are made. Fast fashion is a pretty dirty business from start to finish. The majority of the clothes in these shops to be able to be sold for like £10–20 a dress are made in the global south. This is because labour is cheap, labour laws are lax, and also environmental laws are pretty lax. A lot of big brands will try and tell you that this is to bring opportunities to people, but most of these opportunities include things like poisoned waterways and perpetual poverty. Those are not opportunities that I think many people want to be involved in. You have garment workers and farmers working long hours in unsafe conditions for very little pay, so that we in wealthier countries can buy a dress for a fiver, a tenner, or sometimes like 1 or 2p in certain brand sales. And this isn't just a few bad eggs in an otherwise good system. This is a system that's built on exploitation and only works because of the exploitation of people and of the environment. No matter what any big brand tries to tell you about how well they treat their workers, you cannot sell a dress for £10 whilst making billions of dollars in profit and be paying your workers right, and also be taking care of the environment. There's got to be some give here, and usually that's in the lives of people and also the environment. And you can't really do a haul video if clothes aren't this cheap. Spending $500, $1,000 at a store to get like 1 or 2 pieces of clothing wouldn't really have the same ring to it as buying like 90 pieces of Shein, and lots of people with a bit of disposable income being able to afford that. Now, of course, if clothes weren't this cheap, like, you'd still have very rich people who would be able to buy loads and loads of really expensive clothing and make hauls, and that still wouldn't be sustainable. But a huge part of what fuels this overconsumption culture, and a huge part of why so many people can afford to and can make money off of buying hundreds of pieces of clothing from one brand, is because clothes are so cheap. So haul videos aren't really possible, at least in the way that we see them today, without this exploitation of people and the environment because of fast fashion. So the two go hand in hand. And if you're buying lots of clothes for these kind of haul videos and seeing clothes as essentially disposable or very small use, then you're gonna kind of be a bit detached from the process that goes into making them, who makes them, what they're made of, where they're made, where they go after you're done with them. And this is also what the brands want. They don't want you to think about who is making their clothes and what impact that has. They want you to keep buying, keep throwing away, and keep buying more. Fast fashion is called fast for a reason, and it's been getting faster. From 1992 to 2002, the life cycle of all consumer goods shortened by 50%. In 2014, we reached 100 billion garments produced in a year, with the average person buying 50% more clothes and keeping them for half as long as 15 years before. And it's gotten faster since 2014 too. In 2000, most big brands put out 2 collections a year. They would put out their fall winter and their autumn summer collection. Now we have brands putting out 12, 16, 24 and even in some cases 52 collections a year, with some brands adding tens to hundreds to thousands of new items on their shop every single day. It's hard not to see this as sustainable, and also getting a lot worse, fueled by the kind of thinking that also fuels haul videos, that clothes are cheap, easy to get, and pretty disposable. You buy them, you wear them once or twice, and then you throw them away. This really suits the fast fashion business because they can keep making more and more and more money. But the fast fashion industry as it stands today, this Goliath of exploitation, extraction and environmental damage, would not survive if we all just bought less clothes. And by all here, I guess I do want to specify that's people who buy a lot of clothes. If you're just literally buying clothes and wearing them each 30 to 100 times, that's kind of not the problem, but you know what I mean. If haul videos didn't exist, if the culture that fueled haul videos didn't exist, then the fast fashion industry as we know it today also wouldn't exist. And although yes, haul videos are just a symptom of the bigger problem, they are still a big part of the problem. A big part of us seeing everything as just, don't think about how much we're buying, don't think about what we want to buy, show it off, throw it away. And again, if you're buying stuff for haul content, which I see a lot of influencers do, where they do a haul video every maybe month or every couple of weeks, you're going to be buying tens of new items of clothing every week, every month. You can't possibly be wearing all of that stuff more than a couple of times. I mean, I know I physically couldn't. And so most of these clothes are going to be trashed, possibly sent back to the brand, or given to charity shops in the days and weeks after the haul video is being made. So what happens to them then? Where do these clothes actually go when we're done with them? In the UK alone, we throw away 300,000 tonnes of clothes every year. And it's estimated that 95% of what is thrown out and ends up in landfill here could be used again, whether that's just reworn, recycled, made into something else. And this is pretty staggering, but I'll be honest, I don't think that most of the influencers who make haul videos are just making a video wearing a piece of clothing once and then sticking it straight in the bin. Often I think that these clothes are returned to stores or donated or sold on. I know back in the good old days of the height of fashion blogging, a lot of influencers, especially the smaller ones, would buy a piece of clothing, wear it for a video or a blog post, with the tags on, and then return it straight back to the store. A bit cheeky, but it's not the worst, right? These brands can just resell the item, there's not much harm done in that. Well, a lot of the stuff returned to stores just ends up in landfill. Only about half of what is returned actually ends back on shelves, and a lot of this isn't because it's faulty. Some goes back to manufacturers, some goes to secondary retail stores, but an awful lot of it ends up in the bin and in landfill. This is because it is simply cheaper for most brands to just chuck it than it is for them to recatalogue it or attempt to fix broken things or do anything with it other than just throw it in the bin. Like, this is what profit means to them. Like, sure, this is a huge issue within the fashion industry and it's not necessarily the fault of a person who is returning the clothes, but the mass buying on return and returning of clothes does feed into this system of 300,000 tonnes of landfill waste in the UK alone of clothes. Okay, so mass returning, we've established that's unsustainable, massive fault with the fast fashion industry there. But we can give stuff to charity shops, right? That seems pretty altruistic, pretty good. Goes into a charity shop, someone else goes and buys it, and the cycle continues with clothes. But unfortunately, charity shops are not the solution for our overconsumption problem with fashion either. Only 10 to 20% of what ends up in charity shops actually ends up getting sold. A lot of this is because of the extremely low quality of stuff that ends up in charity shops. As fashion has gotten faster, the quality of clothing has gone down significantly, and I've definitely noticed in my years of charity shopping that there are now like whole sections of some charity shops dedicated to individual brands. Like some of the big culprits of this are Zara, with loads and loads of brand new stuff in some charity shops, huge sections to Pretty Little Thing or Shein or Misguided. So 10 to 20% is unsold, and the other 80%, well, this is often sent on to countries in the global south under the guise of charity, but which is actually just us dumping our waste and say goodbye. And in 2016 the UK was the second largest exporter of used clothes, exporting $447 million worth of used clothes. And these used clothes tend to end up in second-hand markets, one of the biggest of these being Kantamanto in Accra, Ghana. Here, huge bales of used clothing are sold like a lottery system. People buy a bale not knowing what's inside it and then attempt to sell these clothes. This doesn't sound too bad, right? You know, there's a business here. Local people are getting our used clothes, they're selling them on. Still pretty circular, isn't it? Well, no. The main problem with this is there's such volume of clothing and it's so low quality that 40% of what is bought as bales by store owners ends up straight into landfill, and storeholders in the market, because most of what they buy can't be sold, or a significant amount of what they buy can't be sold, end up in a cycle of debt. And even if it was high quality, there's a ridiculous amount of clothing. This one market in Ghana, so this one market, one city, in one country receives 15 million pieces of clothing a week, and the city, Accra, only has a population of around 2.5 million. Accra's municipal government spend $100,000 a year cleaning up the waste from countries who are over consuming this fashion. And the government of Ghana and other countries in the global south are taking on debt so that they can clean up our mess. We send it under the guise of charity, but really we're just dumping our waste and somebody else is having to pay for it. This problem is so bad that in 2018 Rwanda banned the import of used clothing in order to help support their own textile industry and their own makers. And in retaliation, the US ended Rwandan duty-free export privileges, which I think shows you that from the US's point of view, this isn't about charity, this is about using the global south as a dumping ground for waste. Because if it was about charity, they'd just go, oh, you don't want it? Sure, we were doing this for you anyway. But that's not what's happening. Haul videos allow people to make pretty cheap and easy content. You buy the clothes, you make your content, you maybe wear some of the clothes and dispose of the rest. But the problem is that this comes at a cost to people and the environment. And as I've said several times in this video, influencers aren't solely to blame for how this system works. Like, it's been built like this over hundreds of years, but they sure do help feed into it. Buying loads of clothes and dumping them is unsustainable, and it helps keep this system going. So how do we change things? Well, it's gonna sound a little bit overwhelming to say this, but for this problem to actually be solved, we need to change the entirety of the fashion system. Fast fashion cannot exist in a world that is truly sustainable and looking after people and the planet. But I think that's a lot a lot to ask of people watching this video. So let's just focus on haul videos. Fast fashion can't exist in a world that is sustainable and cares about people and the planet. Haul videos can't either. And so if you have a favourite influencer or someone that you enjoy their content who makes a lot of this content, I would say definitely talk to them about it. Now, please note, I'm not saying this so you can use it as an excuse to be a dick to creator. Please don't. I'm not saying dogpile and troll people. I am saying have a conversation, you know? Talk to people to say, hey, I really like your content, but I don't like this kind of content because it's unsustainable, because it feeds into the system. Ask people about what they do with their clothes once they are done with them for haul content. Maybe suggest ideas for videos that you'd really love to see that don't involve buying loads of stuff. I would even suggest, like, if you look into this further, this is something I did years ago, like, if you find I don't want to support all this fast fashion content, all of these whole video content, because it's unsustainable and unethical, and I've spoken to the creator and they keep doing it, the unsubscribe button's there, the unfollow button is there, the I am not going to support you because you're supporting an exploitative system, or even just I am not going to watch just your haul content videos or just your fast fashion videos. Like, that is fair. It might seem a bit harsh, but you know, if we don't support content like this, it's not going to keep being made. But please don't be an arsehole to people. And if you yourself regularly buy loads of clothes, regularly buy lots of hauls of clothing, even if you're not making content about it, and you're pretty horrified by the reality of the situation, then definitely start by buying less clothing. This can be a difficult habit to get out of, especially if you're someone who has a bit of a shopping addiction, or shopping is your hobby, or something that you do to bring you joy. But trust me, it's worth it in the long run. Like, I used to buy a lot of clothes and I definitely enjoy the things I spend my time and money on now a lot more than I did clothing, and I still have a lot of fun with fashion without buying loads of new stuff from fast fashion brands all the time. It's possible. And if you're someone who makes a lot of this kind of haul content, watching this video and not knowing where to start when it comes to maybe trying to wean yourself off it, then I can recommend Fashion Revolution's like alternative stuff. This was made as part of their campaign in 2019 for Fashion Revolution Week, but it gives some really good ideas of content that you can make that's not revolved around buying stuff, but is still revolving around fashion. A lot of it's quite fun. I've even made my own alternative video. So that's definitely a really good starting place. So yeah, we've gone through the life cycle of clothing through the lens of haul videos, and I think we can establish that hauls are pretty unsustainable. They feed into this system in a way that we can't keep doing if we care about people and the planet, at least in my opinion. Hopefully you've learned something today, or you've at least enjoyed this video. I think that brings us to the end. Thank you so much for watching if you made it here. A reminder that a blog post version of this video is linked in the bio. It's on my website, muckycloud.com, and if you want to learn more about sustainable fashion, environmentalism, seeing what I'm doing in my daily life, you can follow me on social media at muckycloud, and also subscribe to this channel if you want to see more content than this. If there's any specific fashion or environmental content you want to see from me, then let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Before we go, just as the end screen's coming up, I need to give a shout out to Asha Barber's book Consumed, because it really helped me in writing this video, and if you want to learn more about the fashion system and how it fits in with colonialism and a bunch of other really interesting things, then definitely go and read it.